So Donovan has us preparing for an all-video world. Donovan Prostrollo talked about that at MTA today, and you said you had four major points that you stressed in this presentation.
Yeah, there's really four big things that move our industry, and it really starts first and foremost with the consumer and how they're utilizing services. Ultimately defines how they use our networks. It used to be about the network and how we built the service infrastructure. That's changed. Now, those customers are using IP networks, Ethernet infrastructures to deliver, our customers are using that network to deliver services. Now, that enables additional services quicker and faster time to revenue, but it also enables competition. And that competition can come from anywhere. It could be halfway around the world, and they could be taking your customer base. Now, all of that also is driven by the regulatory environment. There's really two big things that are changing in our industry. One is broadband is being redefined. We don't yet know what that's going to be. Supposedly, this month we'll learn, but it's very possible it could be delayed again before we actually learn what it means. The other piece is USF and ICC, or Inter-Carrier Compensation, as to how our customers actually make revenue and money off their network, is moving from a model where it used to be driven by the telephony industry and access lines, now moving to a broadband infrastructure. So it's increasingly important that our customers own that broadband infrastructure, even though video may be the predominant thing that's running across, which they may or may not be participating in today.
And I thought you had a part even about monetizing it all, generating some revenue from it. You got a little message there.
Sure. Well, my crystal ball probably is as good as anybody's, but one thing I can say is the broadband infrastructure is the way that we'll monetize these networks in the future, the services that are running across it. The big question is the fine granular detail of how are we going to do that, and it depends on how the government weighs in on how our customers actually recover funds, or if they can recover funds. Maybe they got to get in the front side, so it will become a CapEx model versus OpEx model where they get it over time, which is the way it historically has been for our industry. But that being said, they can make a bigger pipe or a dynamic pipe, and maybe they build by the bit, which is a big question in the industry too, is if you're not taking part of the services running over the top, is that the model that will be the future? Certainly playing out in the industry now. We've been watching the cable industry to see how that's working for them. Works in other countries, hasn't worked here in the U.S. yet, which means if you're not following that model, then it's a matter of how do you participate? Is it an ad-driven model? Is it you get a little piece of the revenue from the content providers? I think there's a big question as to where it goes from here. But the bottom line is that broadband infrastructure over a simple, easy-to-manage, unified access infrastructure is absolutely critical, and it'll probably be fiber or wireless in the future.
Well, and we got all the gizmos and gadgets to do it nowadays, so I guess creating video is easy to do, and it's easy to be in an all-video world.
It's easy to do over the top. I think you ask anybody that's done an IPTV deployment, and they'll tell you there's a lot of moving parts. So video is becoming much easier to deploy, at least in an over-the-top model. The question is that the model that helps them drive the revenue, which ultimately is going to define who will be successful in the future? And we hope that no matter which side of the equation they're on, we are giving them enough flexibility with our products that they can go answer this and solve this equation and ultimately be the successful service provider in their markets.
Well, and who knows, the way things are going, we'll probably be talking about a 3D world next year, I suppose.
We're talking about it already. If you watched what happened at CES this year, 3D was a big thing. Now, the interesting thing is we moved away from a red and blue glasses that make you look like an alien while you're watching 3D to, unfortunately, still glasses shuttered model, which just blocks the eyes to create that illusion of 3D, much like you see in the cinemas with a movie like Avatar. But that being said, I think the infrastructure is finally there where it can be a realistic deployment model now, and 3D for the first time may become more meaningful. The question is it still relevant enough until you get rid of the glasses? That I don't know. But the bottom line is 3D is coming, so it definitely is going to have implication on our networks.
Okay, well, so I'll prepare for next year. We'll catch up with you and we'll talk 3D. How's that?
Sounds great.
We'll see you next year.